So let's talk about what I really wanted you here for. So we're out at the Texas Tactical Police Officers Association convention, and I'm hearing the buzz about the B.R.B. I'm hearing the buzz about this tool, and you walked over and you showed it to me, and I was like, holy, why has this thing not been out forever?
Yeah.
So first of all, one, what gave you the idea to do it, and how long did it take you to perfect it?
So the genesis, the idea actually came from the Stoneman Douglas shooting. My team was one of the teams that did respond. And at the time, being a younger, newer guy on the team and a younger breacher, I was testing out like the collapsible Halligan and RAM and everything. So because like every big incident for law enforcement, everybody parks their cars and you have to run like a half a mile to the scene. So I grabbed at least the Halligan and ran to the school. And by the time we got there, only a handful of guys had breaching equipment, and the master keys that they gave us didn't work. So lucky for me, I got to breach like 40, 50 doors, which so forearms are sore. But overall ended up being not the end of the world, but I was like, why doesn't something small and compact exist for everybody to carry something? Because nothing is better than the full-size stuff, but if you got to lug it a mile or up a dozen flights of stairs and stuff, like it's not practical sometimes. And that was years ago. So I started going down the rabbit hole, tried a bunch of stuff from Home Depot or in the tactical community here and there, and nothing really scratched that itch. And hit a bunch of dead ends with manufacturing, somebody to just make me a prototype. And then finally, through friends and this little community that I'm blessed to be a part of good dudes, linked up with the guys from Colonel Blades, and they quickly believed in the idea and got me prototypes, and we beat the hell out of it for about 6-7 months. Did a little soft release at SHOT Show to friends that I trusted their opinions on, and we were able to do a little launch at TTPOA. We sold out 400 plus units in a little over 2 hours. So the buzz has been amazing. We're actually giving TTPOA 200 of these for next year. So all the instructors and board of directors are going to get one as a gift. And it's been quite the journey, and I don't know if I deserve it or not.
Let's show everybody. So the one thing I'll say, as soon as you see this is what I think is the master in the design. So take a look at this. What's the first thing that jumps out at me is every one of us, you're wearing a set of plates. This will fit right up in a plate carrier in your kit. And to be honest with you, when you feel the weight, it's minimal. It's a mag. So it is a tool that you don't have to think about. It's already on your kit. You're already running with it. And I mean, the function on it, I'm going to have you talk about the function, but
sure.
I like not just, when we think of breaching, we think of a mechanical breach through a door, but let's talk about glass. Let's talk about everything. So talk us through the capability of this.
So yeah, I tried to basically, I'm a minimalist when it comes to this stuff. And I find most people from military and law enforcement communities are really hardworking, lazy dudes. They don't want to carry heavy stuff if they don't have to. They're always trying to shave ounces off and be efficient. So as much capability as I could fit into a tiny package. Starting with the top, I call it the beak because my wife thinks it looks like a weird bird. So kind of going with that, but good for prying anything open, glove boxes, breaking tempered glass or penetrating laminate glass. It breaks into metal frame doors, wood doors, doesn't matter. It'll eat with good technique and strength. My favorite feature is the serrations here that are not sharp enough to cut you, but for laminate glass. And if you know anything about the new safety standards on vehicles, the side windows are now required to be laminate by Department of Transportation. Actually, I think it's this month of this year. It's now when it starts officially, but a lot of businesses or car manufacturers have started in the past. So your window punches are kind of obsolete. You have to, literally has to have something that has serrations on it. And all the tools I found were like the size of a 9-iron. Like not compact. You have to keep in the trunk of your car under all the other BS you have to carry. So I didn't like that. So wanted something that wouldn't cut your hand open if your hand slipped, but just enough. I tell everybody treat the window like a piece of steak. Just get a little bit of an angle on it and go back and forth, and it cuts right through like butter. I originally had this little hand stop on here in case the serrations had to be sharp, so you wouldn't accidentally slip and cut your hand open, but again, it worked out being this way. I do have a more aggressive design for like a polycarbonate, like windshields and stuff like that. It will actually eat hurricane glass too. Found that out recently at an FBI demo. Working down some barbell knurling on the front and back spines for your sweaty hands, because I'm in South Florida. Water, rain, and sweat is something we're not really always prepared for. And then on the bottom here, it's got a little bit of a fork on the bottom that's got a 55-degree angle. All the tools I tried were really shallow, and not knocking any other companies, but I came to find out that a lot of the breech bars were made with like scrap metal from knife manufacturers. So they're trying to offset costs. They didn't put a lot of thought into it. And when I tried them, they weren't really working that great, at least for my brain. So I went with an aggressive angle and a tight little wedge that even an out opening door, you can pop it open with not much effort. And another cool feature, working with the guys from Guild Solutions, they've been testing this thing for a while for me, is ripping tire stem valves. So if you need to deflate tire for one vehicle interdiction and or like a driver who's overdosing, you've got to break in the car, immobilize the vehicle, you deflate a tire in seconds. And then we lightened it up with a couple holes if guys want to wrap like 550 cord around it, or we actually have some designs coming for attachments for like painter's poles. So if you need to break and rake an upstairs window to send a drone in and stuff like that. But those are all, hopefully by the end of the year, SHOT Show will be up and running.
It does one or two things, right, folks? And look at the size of this. Again, size and weight, it matters. And if you think about under any plate carrier, this can sit right in there or actually sit in its designated position. But to me, this is a must for everybody. It's not, hey, you don't have to now, hey, breach her up, right? You got a freaking tool you can get in. And the whole, I mean, just your explanation of the Stoneman Douglas shooting, I mean, that's the game changer right there. So how'd you come up with the name B.R.B?
Originally wanted to call it the B.R.B, like, because it's, again, my wife pushed the design, or not the design, the name a little bit, because it looks like a bird. So I went with a couple like the emu and all the crane, stuff like that. And it sounded like B.R.B, and we just call it the breaching rescue bar because it's just a rescue tool.
Right.
It's designed just to, in case of emergency, like nothing to replace the full size stuff, like I said, but that's in your trunk of your car and you're on the 6th floor of a condo building and you're hearing screams on the other side of the door. Time matters. Seconds count. You're able to break into the door with something, and almost named it the better than nothing or the just in case, because it's better than running back to your car and losing valuable minutes, because patrol hostage rescue has become way more popular, or way more common, I should say. So I wanted to give guys an affordable, capable tool, because MSRP is $100.
Yeah, I mean, $100 for a tool.
Yeah.
You can't.
An hour or two of overtime, I wanted to give guys capabilities. Even after Uvalde, the breaching became, or not having breaching equipment became a hot topic. Whether I've heard misinformation or back and forth if they needed breaching gear or didn't, regardless, I wanted to give guys the tool. And we actually have titanium and a lighter weight version in development as well, if you do want to shave a couple ounces. Yeah,
and the big thing for me too is like every case study you read on law enforcement responding, tactical teams especially, and to me, if I was a patrol officer, I'd have this is something that I would have on my kit no matter what. But every time a SWAT team's involved, they get to a major outer perimeter and they're freaking hoofing from that location. Mandalay Bay, Stoneman Douglas, all of them, they had a run. And weight and utility matters, because if you're going to jock down your gear, this still gives you capability without having to really lose anything.
Yeah.
So,
and there's, it's been a fun process to test. Again, very blessed to have a lot of good friends in this industry that have helped put it through the paces, because I can only get so many doors and so many glass on vehicles to break. But we haven't really met its limitations yet. It's not going to, hasn't broken, hasn't cracked, hasn't gotten dull. It's really, really put out. I have a couple guys that are still active duty that are taken to overseas. I'm not going to name who or where, but they were able to rip open a metal frame door, a metal door and a metal frame in less than 10 seconds.
Which is awesome.
So it's like, why not?
And our brothers over at Guild Solutions, you know, to me, they're the gold standard in a civilian breaching capability.
100%.
You know, Shane and those guys are just amazing. And I know they've been working it, and that's another way it came around to me. Like, have you seen this? I'm like, no. And then all I did was see the picture, and I'm like, I could see 4 or 5 things I could do with it. But once you explained it to me at TTPOA, I'm like, this is fucking genius.
I have imposter syndrome over it, because I'm like, why hasn't somebody thought of this beforehand? Because again, everyone's like, oh, it's just a cat paw from Home Depot. I'm like, kind of, but not really, because there's a lot of features that trust me, I bought everything.
Right.
I took it to bench grinders and Dremels and tried to make it like out of scratch, and it was not scratching the itch. So I said, all right.
Well, the laminate safety glass, if you're not tracking that, and it's funny, it's now on regular autos, but it's been on, if you've never tried to do a school bus assault and gotten surprised, and it's, that stuff is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen full-size Halligans have multiple swings.
Yeah, there's sometimes you can, if you can get a tool in there, it'll rip the whole window out, but it all depends on how the window is structured. And if it's your side windows, like the best technique I found is slam it in by the side view mirror, zipper across the bottom, and it takes 3 seconds, the whole window just falls right out. So again, it saves time. There's dozens of videos where there's cars on fire, or cars in water or flipped over cars on the highway that you got to get people out. And cops are kind of getting their asses kicked a little bit using your basic, like, I don't know, batons or window punches, and they just don't work. So I saw kind of the void in the market, and I wanted to give guys the capability, like I said, at an affordable price.
Yeah. So tell everybody that's listening, how can they get it?
So it'll be live on our website mid-July. About 5,000 units are coming. First week of August, they should be shipping out to customers. So it's good-dude.com. MSRP is $99.99. Comes in a nice little foam insert case. And we're offering also custom engraving for, like if your SWAT team has a special logo they want, or your agency wants to put call signs on it, whatever. And even custom colors. There's a couple of fire departments that want it, because they're also part of the evolution of this process. My whole family's firefighters, believe it or not. And they want it in orange or red or whatever. We'll custom color it.